Hello everybody and welcome to Porsche Talk. This is the first YouTube video on this channel. Don't really know how it's going to go. We're going to play it a bit by ear. And this is Barney, my 986 Porsche Boxster. Barney is a 1999 example, 2.5 5-speed manual, finished in Porsche Zenith Blue. Forgot the colour for a second then. And now fitted with a blue matching roof. As we pan around, you'll notice, if you're a keen Porsche fan, that a 99 example and a glass window. This is not the original roof. I'll come back to that in a second. But this video is going to be an interesting one, I think. Thankfully, the sun has started to come out, because when I arrived here, it was sunny and then it started raining. So we're going to try and get this filmed before we get wet. This video is everything wrong with my Boxster. Now, I want to preface this. This was the cheapest Porsche Boxster I could find in the country. I bought the cheapest Porsche Boxster I could find. Probably a big error in judgment. Hello. Probably a big error in judgment. We're about to find out. Now, as I mentioned, this was the cheapest car in the country that I could find. She's only done 84,000 miles, which, to be fair, is not a lot of miles for a car of this age. A lot of these early cars were always over 100k, and I always thought I do not want an over 100k example. Ironically, the service history on this car is pretty damn good as well. Really good, in fact. So it was kind of a do I, don't I. Cosmetically it's bad, mechanically it looks like it's been looked after. But, as with all old cars, I have had to spend some money on it. So, I've had to replace the roof, as I mentioned. One of the cats has split, as I mentioned when we were inside the car. That I've got ordered, that had to be replaced. We've also had to do a couple of other things. So, we've ordered a new cat, new ignition coils. The gearbox mounts on this are shocking. They are completely gone. So we've had to order new gearbox mounts as well. We're going to be repairing all of those on the driveway at home. So we'll record that and we'll see how we get on. Probably not very well, but we're going to go with it anyway. As I mentioned, inside the car, we've got new front shock absorbers on order, new front lower arms on order, new rear lower arms on order. What else have I ordered recently for this car? We have a new back box on order because it needs a bit more noise, a bit more throat, and a bit more get up and go about it. A few facts about this Boxster. She's a 2.5 with a 204 brake horsepower engine. She's got a flat 6 engine in the back. As I said earlier, mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox. The engine in this car is mid-engined, which is why this was such, well, it is a fantastic handling car. This car does handle like an absolute dream. And what I will say about this car as well is it's one of those cars that it's not the quickest thing in the world, but my God, is it fun to drive. You get in it and you just smile all the time. And again, mid-mounted engine, rear wheel drive, sports car. It's the car that saved Porsche. Without this car, Porsche were facing massive debts, massive bills, because the 911 just wasn't for everyone. With this car, Porsche were able to make a more user-friendly, more buyable, more cheaper alternative to get people into the Porsche brand. And what a precedent it sets. Thanks to this car, Porsche were able to put money aside due to the sales to invest in the Cayenne, the Panamera, the Cayman that would follow in the next generation of this car, and later generations of 911 after the 996. This car shares a lot of parts with the 996. You'll find most suspension items, most brakes, and more importantly, most drive systems are shared with the 996 911. Also, a lot of the interior is shared as well, and it does show, and you can tell why Porsche did it. They were at a time when they needed to save money and they needed to put all of their eggs into one basket and really make something that would save the business, and this car is what did it. The facelift versions of these had a 2.7 litre, closely followed by the Boxster S, which had a 3.2 litre engine. You could get those with manuals or a Tiptronic automatic gearbox. I would always have the manual, however. I think it's a driver's car, it's a better experience, and you've got to just really enjoy a car like this. One more issue we have with this car is that she doesn't actually like to lock, so the key button doesn't work at all. I have to put the key in the driver's side door to lock the car, and for some reason the passenger door just doesn't lock at all, so at the moment the seatbelt's holding it shut. And this is a really unique issue with this car while we're around the back, is when you operate the roof, it opens the boot for some reason, and we cannot for the life of us figure out why. My technician, when he fitted the roof at work, he couldn't figure out why this was just popping up on its own accord. So, everything wrong with this Boxster. First thing first, the front bumper. As we can see, she's very scratched. Very, very scratched. Looks like it's been attacked by a Bengal tiger. Not great, if I'm being honest. I did buy it like this. I did take one look at that and go, this probably isn't good, but I bought it anyway. Next, paint chipping up here, and it sounds very fillery. Panning over here to the Porsche crest, you can see that around the horse, the badge is starting to fade, and the badge is fading up the top as well. So a new badge is needed. And while we're on the topic of the front bumper, there's a big crease down here, and it's actually coming out, and it is movable and not really very set in stone. Remaining at the front of the car, we've got these lovely fried egg headlights. Now, these are a bit faded. They do need a polish. We will get that done. But that's going to be in some time, because I have spent a lot of money on this car recently. Panning round to the wheels. See, this wheel is all scuffed around the outside. I'm actually thinking of painting these a different colour. Let me know in the comment section below what colour you think I should paint them. I'm not sure at the moment. I'm thinking between bronze or gold, but we shall see. On the topic of wheels, this one's buggered as well. This rear wheel is also buggered. This wheel is surprisingly okay. Now, you'll recall I mentioned the roof. This is not the original roof that came with this car. This is a roof that I found at work in a container. The reason being is Barney's old roof had the plastic rear window that all Boxsters had pre the year 2000. And what happened with the old rear window is it was bigger than this, but it was stitched in, and it was stitched all the way around here. Now, what had happened is the stitches had come loose and it had a massive hole in it, so we had to replace the roof. I didn't mind, however. I think the blue roof suits the car so much better. An issue we have also here, absolutely horrendous paintwork on this rear quarter panel. It has been repainted before, we can tell, and it's just been repainted really badly. Under the water as well here, you can see the paint's fading. On the topic of paint fade, if you look at the front of the car in a different angle, you see the bonnet is a different colour to the front bumper. Just general paint fade. The car's 26 years old, it's older than me. The Boxster badge here, paint around the outside is starting to chip. We will probably just get this whole panel resprayed eventually. Got a spoiler tucked in here, that does work surprisingly. Now we've done everything cosmetically with the Boxster, we're going to have a little look through a list of basically everything mechanically wrong with the Boxster. Now, you'll find me inside it because the filming location I chose, it's now a bit wet. It's the British countryside, it's the middle of February, the weather turns on an instant. 5 minutes before I started filming this video, the weather looked like this. But as it's now decided to rain, I'm now sat inside the Boxster to go through this list that I've got here, all 4 pages of it. So, the first 4 things are tyres. Now, the tyres are not N-rated, which is a Porsche speed rating. Don't really need to worry about that. If I was talking to my customers, then yes, we'd worry, but I don't care for my own car. The gear stick does not appear to be aligned correctly. Now, it's quite odd because the gear stick in this car is very, well, the gears are all over the place really. I'll show you. Now, there's a lot of wobble to begin with. First is over here though, and then second's down here. And there's a lot of wobble when it's in gears, but that's neutral, and then third, fourth, fifth. Now, the fifth should be more over here. I have a sneaky suspicion this has a short shifter fitted. The next thing on the list is to do with the handbrake. Now, this is where it has to sit to just be on. It is very high. It's very high up in the air, and it's just, yeah, it needs some work. Now, moving on to page 2. The throttle pedal apparently feels stiff, maybe catching on the carpet. It's stiff. There was a side light inoperative that I had no idea about, so that's been replaced. The key remote doesn't work, which is a... Keys in my pocket. The key remote doesn't work, which is a very fair point, because when I bought it, I pressed the button and nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. So I have to lock it manually, which is fine, except locking it manually means that for some reason this door doesn't work. Probably a separate issue, but it's currently locked with the seatbelt. The next thing he's noted down is that the aircon condensers are corroded and starting to split. Can't wait for those to fall out. Next up, the front bump stops. Near side splitting, the offside's just not there anymore, so there's just no bump stop on the offside front corner. The top of the front shock absorbers are corroded, advise springs and top mounts replaced at the same time. I've got all of this on order. This was very expensive. Page 3. Play in the near side front inner rack end. Good. Low pressure PAS pipe collar repaired with a Jubilee clip. Comforting. Cheap repair. Does what it needs to. Play in the near side rear lower arm ball joint. I was told that's an MOT failure, so that's also been ordered to be replaced. Rear lower arm bushes in poor condition. Will require trailing arms at the same time. Good. Rear shock absorber casings corroded. He effectively said there's nothing left there. Low pressure aircon pipe from the offside front wheel arch, so that's down here below me, to the engine bay has been crushed and is leaking. Good. So not only are my condensers about to fall out, I'm also leaking all my aircon gas out. Wonderful. The B1 ignition coils are starting to split, so when I was under the car the other week, I noticed that 3 of the coils had been replaced, 3 of them hadn't. So 3 of them are going to be replaced. They're on order. They'll be fitted soon. Last page, 4th and final page. Oil wetness between engine and gearbox, oil wetness on corner of sump, oil dampness on B cam cover. Oh, good. But it's an old car, it's going to leak oil. I'm not too fussed about that at the moment. Front lower arm bush is in poor condition. Yeah, they're also on order. That's being done. The B1 cat is split, so there's a big hole in the exhaust. I'll insert a picture here. That's being replaced. I've ordered that. That's here. And last but not least, the near side outer CV boot is splitting. No grease is escaping. All the others are perished. So I need CV boots on my drive shafts on both sides. And that is the list of everything wrong with my cheap Porsche Boxster. I know normally when people do these everything wrong videos, they do it from underneath the car. But I thought, let's just get someone else to do the hard bit for me and we can just do the easy bit. I would also love to know, would you guys like to see a review of how the car drives and what it's like to drive it? If you do, please let me know and get the GoPro out and we can try that and see what we can do with this car. That is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this first video on the Porsche Talk channel. Please let me know if you'd like to what you'd like to see me do with this car. As I mentioned, most of the repairs we're going to try and do on the driveway at home, so we'll see how we get on. Most of the cosmetic stuff I am going to have to outsource, but it's part of the fun, isn't it? It is now a beautiful sunny day, which is massively increased from the rain, so I'm going to get in the old girl, get the roof down and go for a spin. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. See you next time.